What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What's good? What's good? It's Marcus. I don't know why I was coughing. No COVID. No COVID. I'm chilling.
Not the SmashCon 2023 COVID. Okay. It's Charles or Chuck.
It's Matter has. I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but let's bring it back in. We are talking about Super Smash Con, and obviously a lot of characters to talk about there. What do you think about the characters there, Gavin?
Corn is broken.
Yeah, actually, Corn does pretty well against the late game meta like Steve and Sonic.
Wow. Acola's right all along.
I'll give it up. Actually, not only were the characters nice job, guys, by the way. Definitely didn't take us 2 tries to get that down. That is a
Why you
tweet
tell him, man?
from Crystal_PG. What a great tweet. Made the rounds, was making fun of us, or doing a great impression of us. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe imitation is the greatest form of flattery in this case. So we appreciate it. I got tagged in that tweet like 1,000 times, so I'm glad it got brought up. I'm glad we ran through it live. That was very fun. Definitely crushed it on that one. We are here to talk about Super Smash Con. Well, amazing tournament. Speaking of amazing tournaments, Chuck, I think there's another one we got to talk about real quick.
Yes, of course. Before we even get into that, if you like the content, if you enjoy listening to the podcast, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can also suggest in the comment section any bonus topics that we like to do for our Patreon, which we are doing a Patreon episode after this. We're actually going to be talking about Dabuz as a player, just the ins, the outs of his playstyles, the history of Dabuz as well. We did a long time ago. We had an episode where we kind of talked about individual players and what makes them special, what makes them unique. So we want to kind of bring that into the bonus content. And the first player we're going to be talking about is Dabuz, because he had a killer run at Super Smash Con 2023 and also qualified himself to watch the throne. So the top 2 players that were not invited to watch the throne have qualified via Super Smash Con 2023. So that is going to be Mia and Dabuz. Super excited about that. There was 8 base invited players, as you can see on the screen here. And yeah, Watch the Throne is a tournament ran by Lights Out, Tweek Talk, Smash University, Guild House, Red Bull. So, it's for the community, by the community. And December 8th in Guild House, San Jose, going to be an invitational, very similar to Summit, but we also want to add our own flair to it. So yeah, make sure to check out all the news for Watch the Throne on the Twitter account at WTT events, and just to keep updated with all the news. And we got a couple more qualifying tournaments being Port Priority and Let's Make Moves Miami. So really excited for the future of Watch the Throne and getting all those players filled out. And then of course we're gonna have 4 voting spots. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, dude. I was super happy with who qualified, because a lot of people said Mia should have been invited, and after the recent rankings, totally agree. But it's like you can't invite every single player ever, obviously. And we're not surprised that Mia qualified either. Like, definitely one of the players towards the top of that list of who we thought would qualify. Very happy that he did so early on. And then Dabuz too. I always thought it was a huge W when Dabuz got into Summits. I thought he was a content machine, great player, all good stuff. So I'm very, very pleased with who managed to qualify through Super Smash Con 2023. So yeah, I think we should just start talking about Super Smash Con, period.
What a tournament, bro.
Yeah, not just like in the bracket. Like, the bracket was wild, obviously, but it's always such a busy time just existing at Super Smash Con. The convention floor is enormous, so if you want to go anywhere or do anything, it takes a long time to like walk coast to coast, basically. Then you get stopped by a bunch of people. Hey, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. It is exhausting, dude. I was completely wiped out by the time I fell asleep on that plane home. Instantly knocked out. And then, yeah, I've been so tired, just kind of bouncing back from socialization and all that good stuff. So how are you all feeling?
Very tired. My voice is shot.
Yeah, I felt like everyone at least lost their voice a little bit. That was something I noticed. It felt like SmashCon specific. I haven't been to a tournament in a while where everyone was like had a hard time talking by the end of it. I feel like I always have a pretty good idea. Like we've done. This is our 114th episode, and I feel like whenever we're talking about tournaments, I'm pretty good at predicting how it's going to go, right? Like what the main topics are. Like maybe if I'm at the tournament, we'll talk about that a little bit, blah, blah, blah. But this time it's like, can we even talk about everything? Like, that's how crazy it was. Like, there's so many ways to go and things to talk about with this. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I have no idea where to even start. Like, geez.
I mean, I know
Well,
the first big topic we can talk
we were
about,
all
but
there.
Oh, well, that was hype. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
and we filmed that cool content that we did.
Yeah.
I did film bonus content,
You did.
so
He did.
I'm
He did.
pretty embarrassed, but I got about 1 or 2 matches of Tweek's off-stream matches. So that's something that no matter what,
Ooh.
Tweek has to play those matches. And I know everyone that watches this podcast is a fan of Tweek, so I'm pretty sure they want to see as much Tweek content as possible in the tournament. And also, it is a completely different environment off-stream, like just how people cheer and people get rowdy. It is, I think, when you go to a tournament, sitting and watching the mainstream is not the move. You want to go to the off-stream section. That's like the street of Smash Bros right there. That's the real shit. You know what I'm talking about? So I got 1 or 2 matches, but one of the most important one was Tweek versus Yoda Cage. God, and I feel very dumb for doing this, but I recorded it in time lapse instead of regular recording. So
it was just a bunch of pictures.
Yes, and I was sober when I
He
did
just
this.
really
There's no excuse.
He just loved
Catch the old
moment.
picture show, Chuck. It's like one of those like slideshows that goes by, like the horse running.
I'm sorry to all the Patreons. I'm sorry, but we're gonna upload those. I'm gonna give it to the editors, and we'll upload that as bonus content. So you'll get a time lapse of.
You're gonna send the editors 8,000 still images.
It's a video file. It's a video file.
Wait. But Charles, to your credit, thank you for doing that, because usually we get 0 content out of tournaments, so we're getting there. We're getting better at it. Nice job, Charles. Nice job,
dude. It's hard for SmashCon because one of us is always doing something, right? So like I showed up, Haz and Chuck were doing the talent show. Gavin was getting the food. And then we're like walking around. Then we go get food, and Gavin comes back, and then Haz has to do the smashies, and then like any other day, like one of us is playing at a time, one of us is commentating at a time. Like we're getting stopped, like groups of people, hey, like pictures, and we're like, yo, Gavin, we just kept doing that over and over. Yo, Chuck, picture.
I know.
Like,
we would get separated. Like it's like herding cats. It really is. Like you're just all over the damn place.
It was super sick, yeah.
We had so much fun though. It was great. I'm happy we all got to hang. It's been I think we said this too. I think it's been since last summit, since all 4 of us have been together, which is insane.
Shout out to all the fans and patrons that came up to us.
Yes,
that was really cool to just see all the fans and the patrons in person, just to really see all the people that support us as much as possible. So if you did that at SmashCon, much love. Thank you so much. It's well appreciated. And honestly, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going. People just coming up to me and being like, oh, hey, I enjoy the content, whether it be Tweek Talks or Smash University. You know, obviously we don't get a ton of money off of this kind of stuff. So the fact that you guys are out there and you guys enjoy the content, that's the thing that motivates me the most.
Yeah.
And even, dude, all the side activations, oh my God. Before we get into like the actual tournament and stuff, talking about all the for fun stuff is really cool. Like there was the Pokemon Go event. There was all the Pokemon events that Rod was hosting in that Pokemon area, which was really cool. There was like a content creator stage, which was really sick. HBox, Coney, EE got to do a bunch of activations and stuff. EE did his Scuff talent show.
The talent show. Holy
that
shit.
was very
I thought I was gonna fucking die at one point. That shit was production.
I don't know.
I gotta say, production, because I want to say it's a shit show, but the first thing I want to say before I say that is production killed it. The production team was amazing at Super Smash. That's a great way to put it, Chuck, because God knows Phil was not prepared for whatever. It was very fun, I will say, and it was very funny. That's Coney's thing. That went great, obviously.
Oh, that was cool too. Yeah, Coney ran a bunch of events, right?
Shuton won it.
Won by 1 point. 1 point
twice.
I think
that is insane.
I think, like, since SmashCon is such a celebration of Smash, I think it's surprising that we didn't have more of these like creator like side things before, because it's such a big part of the community. You know, like Coney and Phil, they don't really play anymore. They're commentators and they're great big personalities in the scene and big presences in the scene, but give them a chance to shine and all that stuff. It worked out really well, I think. Like even the talent show, obviously, like it was what it was. But it definitely was, engaging, interesting content. And I do actually have faith in Phil. If he gets to throw another one at some point, which he should, he would do a lot better. You got to
might require a little screening.
Yeah, maybe a little work ahead of time would be great. And I think when you do something like that, diving into the deep end, then you realize where the holes are and you just fix them next time. It'll be good.
That's usually the way to do it, right? So,
or
it's fun. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know if the VODs are deleted, but maybe you can catch the VODs on
probably.
it's probably
there was a lot of the music there. Yeah, would get copyright strike. So because like everybody was a singer basically, except for the one guy.
TK did karaoke too. I don't know if that was streamed. I doubt it was streamed because of all the DMCA. But like that in person, it was super dope.
It's
to see,
it's a good time.
Yeah,
that was a cool one because last year I think it was kind of improv, like it's just like impromptu, and now like everyone's like, damn, we should do that again. The line was so long apparently, so shout out to those guys. Blast Zone always killing it, of course. They were really
Coney's
in their element. Coney's restream,
dude. At the tournament, that's so funny,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was doing really good numbers too when Coney was on the stream. Obviously, when Coney went to commentate top 4, the viewership dropped, but it was still pretty cool.
That's the only reason why the viewership dropped. If you know, you know. See you.
But yeah, all those side activations, I really do think that's the future for a lot of these content creators to come out, because even for Coney's getting so big as a content creator, it's hard to justify him to come out to these tournaments, right? When you can just stay at home and restream. So these like live activations for Coney where you can turn them into YouTube videos and stuff like that. And he has bonus resources. Everyone being in the building is really sick.
For sure.
Oh God.
I think the easiest topic to jump to, like you said, we can't cover everything that happened in the bracket and in the tournament. Before we do that, I do want to say shout outs to all of the smaller Smash teams that were there. I casted Brawl. I watched a good amount of Smash 4 and 64 too. 64 at one point was the only thing on stream, so I definitely watched that, and it's cool seeing Isaiah win his first major or whatever. So yeah, shout outs to all the other smaller Smash games. I love being able to experience and get kind of a peek into what those scenes are up to and how they're doing and all that stuff. So huge reason to go to SmashCon. But I think the easiest place to start will be this tweet that I saw from Pikana. It was the biggest underperformers actually of Super SmashCon 2023 because this is going to be a pretty big topic. And that is because we just had the rankings come out. And it was pretty, I would say the rankings.
Official rankings.
I'd say shout out to Luminosity because even though every ranking system, none of them will be perfect, there's always going to be a point of contention. Obviously, that comes in there. But the fact that we have them now and the fact that we could talk about them and have something to go off of as a caster, I do really appreciate that, even if I don't agree with every single placement 100%. So it is still good to have and still good for people. Remember, like, before we had, like, even before PG rankings or Panda rankings, we just had nothing? That's what it felt like again, and it sucked. It's like, yeah, I have an idea how good this player is, but what does it mean? Like, if I'm a casual viewer viewing it, like, jumping in, is this the number 8 player or the number 40? Like, I don't know. Sure, somewhere in there. Sounds good.
And a bunch of different rankings at the same time, too, and you don't know which one to go off of. So, I mean, shout out to Luminosity for stepping in and being like, okay, boom, this is like, we got something to work with here, right?
The biggest and most obvious upset is Spargo at 49th, which is insanity. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, Spargo's a player that has taken an upset or two before in his life, but this is wild, especially after the rankings had just come out. So, I don't even know if he got to play on stream. I didn't see him. Actually, I didn't even see him once, period, throughout the whole weekend. Like, not even in the venue or anything, like just walking around. I didn't even see him. So, I don't know if you guys caught the sets, or I know Aaron beat him the second game or the second set.
I watched some of the Aaron versus Spargo just because I'm clearly interested in that matchup. Diddy Kong versus Cloud. But not like a lot of it or anything. And I watched zero of I did watch some of the winner set with Lai actually, but just bits and pieces of both.
It's LY, by the way, like the boom boom, like the.
Oh, you don't say Lai, you just say
it's
LY.
LY, yeah. I got corrected on that. Yeah, it's
got it. Yeah, there was a couple things that Spargo was doing that was getting punished and just felt like a bit like antsy. But it's also something Spargo gets away with very often otherwise. So I don't know. There was a lot of close calls, like the Aaron set was game 5 and stuff like that. And it just, as someone who's been competing for a long time and has suffered like a lot of game 5 losses or has like won a bunch of close game 5 matches, like it's just always so crazy to think like, oh, if one stock went differently, like how differently the tournament would have went. Like I had a game 5 loss in losers brackets. Like, oh, if I won, what would have happened? Like, and I think, no one is immune from underperforming, especially when it's like, up to like a decision or two. You know what I mean? you know, it's happened to me a bunch of times. It's happened to Leo a few times lately. And I think if people are so quick to forget how great Spargo is, it's going to be very, very punishing next time you see him. So kind of reminds me of like something that comes to mind is like Light wasn't at a few tournaments and people weren't thinking about Light or Fox in general and stuff like that. And it's like, I just know like if you forget about Spargo or Sonics or something, like they're going to come back with like, it's going to be very punishing if you don't consider them in like even in the very next tournament they attend. So
yeah, I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me was just like with Spargo at least was this tournament is gigantic, right? Like it's the biggest tournament. It seems like for the past 2 years, right? You always over 2,000 entrants. Like it's a gauntlet, and I think one of the biggest things with the rankings just coming out right before this is like you gotta prove yourself, right? You feel like you're number one. A lot of people feel like you're number one, and you're like, all right, well, I gotta go here, and here's the pressure to perform is way higher than it's probably been in quite some time. So I'm sure he's young, which is really funny because Acola is also really young, and it's like he has the pressure to perform and prove that he's really number one and he won the tournament. But
absolutely,
it's something about like when you feel like you're better than you are and trying to prove that to people and also prove that to yourself. That can't really be replicated. That feeling. So I feel for the kid. I know he'll bounce back. He always does. But it was definitely when I was watching him play, I was like, these are some
down airs,
interesting decisions.
The down airs,
some of the down airs, yeah. But he was making a lot of like
a
lot more risky, like risky,
really, wow,
like decisions. I was like, I don't see this more often. Like I'm gonna go for like this crazy up smash like he gets a lot of up smashes, but I feel like they were coming out way more than they normally do, and it was just like he was like banking a lot on his ability as a player instead of like banking a lot on his ability to play the game well. And I think those are two very different things.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like even just thinking about the statement of Spargo did not make it to stream, that alone, you don't even have to know the placement number. Just that statement in itself is like, holy shit, like what is happening, right? And in my opinion, last season, just one of the most consistent players to do it, right? Had some dips, like not as consistent as Acola, obviously, but just had the higher highs. That was like the big argument for the ranking, right? And I felt like the ranking had so much controversy behind it that both, and I'm not going to say this pressure is exclusive to Spargo. It was both, to Spargo and Acola. There was a lot of pressure on both of them this tournament. So shout out to Acola for even through all that pressure, and there's so much to prove. He came through and still got first place. Still won.
It's another situation where close game fives comes down to one button press.
Yep.
One interaction. Yep.
One forward smash.
Had like at least one of those and was able to win. And it's just something I'm personally thinking about just based off what we've been talking about for the last few minutes. Is just like, especially because the last like year or two for me, I've had so many. It feels like I have like a few tournaments where I'm on the losing end of the game fives, and then I'll have a couple where I'm on the winning end of the game fives, and it's just really something to think about if you're a competitor. Is really think about what goes into those situations and what you have to do to either prevent them or win them more often. Like, prevent them from even getting that close in the first place, right? Because I'm definitely the type to, I want that to be, I don't want the game five, like, last hit. Like, that means something is going wrong for me, even if I do win, you know what I mean?
You want that pre-quarantine Leo dominance. Like,
yeah,
you ain't getting to game five.
I need some 3-0s. I'm never at a deficit. I always take the first stock. Like, that's fun Smash Bros for me.
But, or you always get the reverse 3-0. Like, Leo.
Game one starts and I lose the first stock.
Right, yeah.
If I lose the first stock at the start of game one, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is not how it's supposed to go. Like even like it's so funny. Like I whenever I play my first pools matches, like depending on what happens, it's like in my head I'm like I know how this tournament's gonna go. But like I remember my first match, like one of the games is going super well, and then I get grabbed at 0 by Min and die, and I'm just like, okay, I know where I am. I know the state of this game right now, and I know I have to fight for my life. So, it is what it is.
Wakes you
like
up
in
a
between
bit.
stocks, right? You're like
Yeah,
just kind of refreshing the game state. Like, yep.
No fun allowed. I'm never having fun again. It's
Charles,
business mode.
Spitting.
Business time.
So, something that was interesting, Charles, that we talked about was this placement that Spargo got and the losses he took.
Oh man,
how hard is it going to be for him to become number 1 this season? Is that a possibility? I mean, with other players are going to have to take pretty big L's for that door to open up, in my opinion. But on your record, having essentially 2 unranked losses and getting 49th at a major, the way Ultimate is now, I don't know if you could do that and become number 1 in a season.
I don't think so. I think it's very impossible.
Insane.
Or there's like a 0.001% chance that Acola also gets a 49th, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the way
I think he'd have to do a little more than that, wouldn't he? He'd have to also get.
Spargo would have to start racking up first place, right? Because clearly, head to head isn't. I guess it's like kind of a big deal, but like if we look at the last rankings, unless they change up the algorithm, like Spargo can't just beat Acola and be like, all right, I'm gonna get first. Like that's.
Well,
not
I think
enough.
the biggest thing
You know what I mean?
for Spargo to consider, and it's not easy. I have been dealing with this for like a lifetime. Like I've been number 2 in a Smash game like at least twice, and it is the worst thing ever. Like emotionally. But I think the most important thing for him is that time is on his side. He's not even like 20 years old. I think he has a lot to work with, and I think he'll be perfectly fine. He's definitely not going to get number 1 this season, but I'm also not an algorithm guy or a ranking guy, so maybe he can. But I don't think so, and that's all right. Time is on his side, like I said, and if it matters to him at all, I personally think he's the strongest player on the planet. I don't care if he got 65th this weekend. I don't care if he got 49th, which he did. Like I don't care if he got 9th or 7th. I don't care if he won. I personally think he's the most
skill wise.
Yeah. I think like even in a lot of ways statistically, there's a lot of things that show him as being the best. And that's coming from someone that thinks they're the best in most ways, like skill wise and everything. Like I personally think I'm the strongest player in a lot of ways. But there's also a lot of things that objectively, like I'm just lying to y'all. So, but I'm just saying for what it's worth, if he cares about, I still think he's the strongest. And I also think he'll bounce back, which we're already talking about.
I've only ever heard you say that 3 other times.
I said it this weekend before he was out of the tournament.
3 times in the 7 years, 8 years.
It's a rare.
It's very rare for Gavin to say,
because I usually think of myself.
Someone's better than him. Yeah. It's very, very rare.
Well, so that's how we're talking about Spargo and Hazmatt's Glaceon, right?
Oh, true. All right. Well, 4. My bad.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah. In Smash.
Still three.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, Gavin, because I was getting cooked. I got to the airport too early and I was bored, so I was like, I'm just gonna say I still think Spargo's the best because like X, Y, and Z reasons. Like just looking at a bracket, I still think he's like the favorite to win it, and I still feel like he's the best player too. So I appreciate you saying that. But I was getting cooked. At one point I was casting, and people were like Spargo's out. I was like, you guys are trolling me. And then that tweet where I said Spargo's the best started getting replies like, what do you think now, dumbass? And so I was like, oh, what the hell? Like, what am I supposed to? What? I still feel this way, but damn, like
And I heavily respect like anyone that puts efforts into rankings. Like it's Charles like worded it
Same.
well. Like, giving us something to work with is like important, and I think I got like started a real career in Smash because of people's efforts into rankings. Like years ago, I feel like I got my first sponsor, and I got eyes on me as someone to work with because of rankings being, people were putting more effort into that kind of thing around that time in Smash 4. So I think there's, it's a lot of positives, and a lot of people are putting effort into it, and are working hard at it. But at the same time, like, there's so much that goes into it, and I have my own universe in my brain with what I consider right, like my own algorithm or whatnot. But it's not like I don't respect any other ones, because there's been a few things the last couple of years with Ultimate, and it's nice to keep up with. It does give yourself something to think about. But y'all know how I am with tier lists or rule sets or rankings. Like I'm still gonna really care about my thoughts and feelings. And I guess that ego is probably, has its own pros and cons, because I'm sitting here still thinking I'm the best when I'm clearly not. But I do really, really, I have faith in Spargo. I have faith in Sonics. I have faith in, like, just in this underperformer thing. I have faith in all of these players, like Jackal, Sitsu, Karama, Sonic, Spargo. But when you're looking at someone like Spargo or Sonic specifically, these are players that are like just got ranked top 5 in the world, and I think it would be very like naive to undermine them or doubt them for the future tournaments, because they're definitely going to outperform players who outplace them this tournament for the rest of the year and probably for the rest of their careers. Just because I just personally think they're some of the best, and we've been saying that for a while now. So, and I can say the same thing for myself. Like, if you're too quick to doubt, myself because of rankings or placings, like, it's definitely there's gonna be some whiplash in the future, just because it's a little naive, I think.
No, we'll start putting out the apology forums. Don't worry.
Yeah, Dabuz has been. Yeah, I mean, jokes aside, isn't that why that kind of thing exists in the first place? Is because of, like, chaotic tournaments happening and people like reacting very quickly. So
it's true. I think on the other end too, as tough as this tournament was, and obviously one tournament doesn't define anyone's career, but I think this is probably Acola's biggest tournament win to date. Not just because he's won many tournaments. This is a tournament, other side of the coin, right? Huge tournament for Spargo because he had something to prove. Acola, same. He was right in the same. He was in the seat next to him. You know what I mean? Same thing. I got something to prove. And he looked incredible. Like, I think he had only dropped one game leading up to top 8 or to top 16. Something, dropped a game to Web JP. Shout out to Web. Great player. He's been doing well. Yeah. Only dropped one game on his way, I think, to top 8. I had it written down for commentary somewhere. So
no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Dropped one game before getting into top 8.
Wild. Well, that we know. I didn't check his round 1 pool, so I don't know. Maybe
he actually ran with Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So in a world where we talk about all these inconsistencies and all this pressure, again, not one tournament makes anyone's career, but damn, I love this statement for that kid. Like, that was, what a way to do it when so many other people are having a tough time with this bracket, and it's such a tough bracket for so many different reasons. 2 out of 3 for a while throughout the bracket, so it's easy to kind of get just cheesed on a couple stocks and lose a set. The Acola, man. I think something that'll be interesting is how this works going forward, that he's now the uncontested number 1, right? Like, at this point, he just is. So he has, one thing that comes with that territory is the target on your back, that everyone wants to beat you because you're worth so many points, because you're worth so much, and it's such a big deal to everyone, obviously, especially because he has been so consistent in beating so many other players, with the exception of Spargo, basically. So it'll be interesting to see how again, like, this is why I appreciate the rankings, because we're in a place where we can talk about stuff like this and say, even if we didn't think they were perfect or whatever going into the top 50 this time around, hey, we'll talk about it now. Let's see what happens here. The second rankings, just like Phil's talent show, the second rankings will be better,
Always the second round. There you go.
What this reminds me of, and this kind of shows my age, but do you remember the period in Melee where Mango and Armada where like 1 and 2 and
Yeah.
Armada was giga consistent. Like first, second, second, like maybe a couple thirds, and then Mango would get like 4 firsts in a row and then get like a 5th and then like a 6th, and then you're like, bro, who is it? Is it Mango or Armada? Like, whenever we talk about Spargo and Acola, I just think about peaks versus consistency, Mango Armada. Like, and it just, I feel like
that's
something
rankings in general.
Yep, that we're gonna deal with for forever with rankings. Like, what do you value more, a player's peaks or a player's consistency? Looks like right now Acola kind of has both, so sealing the deal. But
you can't say anything.
Yeah, but it was just before last weekend. That was something I was thinking about quite a bit. But
that is definitely the conversation. But I think it's also important to talk about who did really well this weekend. And there's a couple that comes to mind other than Acola, who we just talked about, of course. But Dabuz has been doing fantastic the last few tournaments.
The king.
Well, I guess not exactly like back-to-back or anything, but he has some really high placings lately, I guess is a better way to word it. And that's just fantastic because Rosa isn't like the best possible candidate for like a high placing on a tier list or anything, and neither is Olimar, quite frankly. And as someone that plays like 2 characters that aren't like the number 1 picks for like winning tournaments or anything, and like is, like it's a tough life sometimes. Like, they're like, they're high tiers or something like that, and it's not like the best of the best, and there's hard things you can run into, and it's really inspirational, and it just gave me something to think about, especially when I was practicing when I got home, and like really sticking it out with my characters and just finding the little things to keep you going, and like really putting focus on like certain things to get better at all these matchups, and it just made me realize that like the hard work definitely pays off, because Dabuz getting a big first place at CEO, getting a big second place at SmashCon, and he's using characters that people definitely had probably written off at some point in Ultimate. So I think that's really cool. And even Dabuz himself has gone through a bunch of different characters. So great job to Dabuz. And also another person that comes to mind is actually Mars. I don't know if y'all want to chime in about any of this, but Mars did really well this weekend, getting a big 3 on light, and I think that's where the ball really, really got rolling for him. He ended up getting top 8, which I think is really impressive for someone that doesn't really practice as seriously. Has kind of moved on in life in comparison to, I think, of people like me and Light, who have actually really stuck with competing more so than anything else. Because Mars is kind of like mentally in that group with us for me, like just started playing around a similar time and everything. So I just think it's impressive how talented Mars is. He also has like surgery for his ACL coming up, so it's clearly like not his priority in life to win SmashCon, but he did a damn good job this weekend. He also beat AK to qualify in the top 8, and he's using a character that is definitely not top tier, at least to me subjectively, but also objectively is not considered to be top tier in terms of statistics. So shout outs to people just using their favorite characters, bro. Like, seriously.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Went on Onin as well for Mars. I think that was
wait.
Onin game 5 and Light.
Onin got the ball really rolling.
Yes.
And that is super cool that he has some great wins this weekend.
It was
Onin and Light.
It was cool to see. Obviously, I've been really good friends with him and Light for years. I've seen their rivalry grow to where it is now, to the peaks that it was when they were both really trying their hardest to be top-level competitors, and they pushed each other so much. And it was funny because I watched Lights Out last week, and Light was saying, I'm so excited for SmashCon. I've never felt more motivated. I'm playing a ton. I'm feeling good. He goes, the only thing that'll stop me is Mars if he gets to me.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he was not word for word, but he was like, I don't want to play Mars. He's like, I don't want to play Mars, basically. I know. But that's how it goes with them. Like that's the way it is.
Yeah,
he was like,
there's this card for like, pretty far in the bracket and like all the head-to-heads, and it was all like 2 sets or less for everything. And then for Mars and Light,
yeah,
it was like 20 sets.
It was like 20, yeah.
It's good stuff. But yeah,
and
he's
Fox
like
does well in that matchup too. By
Yep.
the way, like Fox
He wins,
does
yeah.
extremely well in that matchup. So
Yeah, it's gone back and forth though. Like like Mars was winning for a while, then Light was winning for a while, and I think Light's win this time kind of like throws a small wrench in things. If they even start, it's really up to Mars to show up to tournaments and like care about everything. But yeah, rivalries are really cool, and this Smash 4 and Ultimate have been around for so long that things like this are possible, and I don't know, it's pretty crazy. I've been around so long that something like Mars and Light playing is pretty nostalgic. And I feel like we all, like our group of friends, we all like want Mars to play, like play.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like super say it to his face. Like we don't want to bother him, and we don't want to like tell him what to do because everyone should do what they want to do. But there's certain players that just have a spark that like is not replicatable, and Mars is definitely one of those players that you can't replicate. So shouts to you, Tyler. Good job this weekend. But Dabuz and Tyler were definitely people that come to mind. And also the other Japanese players did so fantastic this weekend. I played against Mia for the first time. He actually beat me and then got into top 8 and then had a pretty good run in top 8 as well. I even played a little bit of friendlies with Mia afterwards, and like his game watch definitely does a lot of things that I'm still thinking about, and I don't know what to do next time I play him. There's also a lot of corn in top 8, including Neo, who beat me in winners. Played fantastic, had a lot of really bold decisions, hit really hard. There's also Acola, who won the event, who we were just talking about. I'm kind of forgetting some other people that were in
Ken
top.
did really well.
Ken, yeah. Been a minute since we've seen him in a huge top 8.
Right.
So
If Shuton isn't doing well, Ken is doing well. Like those are some of the household names, at least for me, that I've been seeing since I was a kid competing, and I've played against them both quite a bit. Or they're both doing well, you know what I mean? So yeah, shouts to the Japanese talent that really showed up this weekend and performed really well under the unique pressure that is SmashCon, I would say.
Yeah, and even the top 8 split was really cool. There was 4 American players and 4 Japanese players.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yep. So it's down the middle, but there's 3 Japanese players
in winners.
Winners.
Zomba too. Like
only Dabuz in winners. Yeah.
My joke with
stocks.
Zomba every time is that Zomba has never lost. He just doesn't lose. He's just always there. He's always your next opponent. He's always in the top 8.
I was especially impressed with Zomba this tournament because he 3-0'd Mars, and that is not an easy matchup for Rob. That's a losing matchup, and Mars has always been very good at that matchup. So to see him just kind of dismantle, and it wasn't even like, oh, Zomba is being lame or Zomba's camping him or something. Like he went head to head with Mars and held his own, which is insane. Yeah. Like they were clashing a lot. Like it was like a fast 3-0, which is on the side of Zomba in that matchup, which is really, really impressive to me. So. Yeah, shout out to Zomba, man.
He's been doing well for a long time now, but he's been doing even better than usual, and he's even beaten me a couple of times. And so I've been kind of forced to pay a bit more attention, and I've definitely been studying. There's a lot of weird and interesting things about Zomba's playstyle. But not to put him on the spot or anything, but regardless of what it was about, when I saw him won a set in SmashCon, and he just looked upset afterwards, and it was really funny to me because it reminded me of myself, like when I'm in losers bracket and I'm winning but I'm still super pissed. And I like seeing that kind of thing because it just shows like that there's just like a will to play and win that like just can't be like he's gonna like plug in and play and like fight his hardest like no matter what. So yeah, just a lot of players that are just like doing really well under any pressure you throw at them. And something that also inspired me is like some of these players are also really big on, they go to everything. They're playing Wi-Fi. They go to every freaking tournament. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, maybe I really need to put in more hours or like go to some more tournaments. Like, and it really started for me like really like second guessing like my like how much hours I'm putting in and how much effort I'm truly putting in when Spargo and Sonics were in grand finals not too long ago. That really made me think
Coinbox.
Yeah, because of that, because of truly like these two are definitely playing like more than what is expected and necessary, I would say. So that really made me think, and some of these players make me think in the same way. So
I feel like it probably really started when they went to Japan and you were just like sitting at home.
yeah,
I feel like that's the first time where you were like, bro,
am
what
I
am I
not doing
doing?
enough?
Yeah, you're like, what am I doing? Like, I need
Yeah.
to start traveling. And then you saw them in grants, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. Like these people are grinding. Like, what?
It's
I'm not
so
to unite.
it's so respectable. It really is.
Yeah, the Kaguribi training arc was real for
And
so many players, including Dabuz. I mean,
Dabuz, yeah.
and Zomba leveled up a lot from that trip. So
Dabuz played so fantastic. That was Dabuz with some fire.
Yes.
Oh, you want to talk about activation? When he was down 0-2 against Chase, and he switched to Rosa.
Shouts to fucking Dabuz.
That's the fucking Dabuz, bro.
Dabuz holding it down for America, bro. Second place. I mean, it's been rough for America as of recent. Like in Smash Factor, I don't think we had a single representative in top 4, which is like wild, right? So in terms of America in general, I think So in context, America used to be the highest ranked region by far in like most Smash games. Brawl, Smash 4, beginning of Ultimate. There was the exception of Leo, but I wouldn't say Mexico was the highest ranked region in the beginning of Ultimate. I would still say it was America, and Leo was just number 1, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, Japan is just such a force to be reckoned with. So, I mean, it's crazy. And even so, like the Buzz holding it down for America, and even DDee, I want to shout out DDee. I think DDee played extremely well. And for up and coming American talent, keep your eyes on DDee because he is one of the first American players that, in my opinion, really understand the bullshit of this game and will pick anything and do any strategy to win. He is truly
the confidence to switch characters and do what he thinks is necessary and like not overthink things is something that isn't really easy to do. Because even into this tournament, I told myself I was going to be willing to do things I don't normally do, and I didn't do any of it. To give myself some credit, I played like maybe one player I expected to, but still, you know what I mean? That kind of thing is not easy.
Yeah, he's truly ruthless.
Very consistent. He's very consistent.
Yeah. And remember, DDee got washed by Sonics at MomoCon. So, like, what a turnaround, right? Like, clearly had a plan and then executed perfectly. I think that set went to 4 timeouts, if not just 3, something like that.
4 times.
That kid, like you said, Chuck, whatever it takes, right? Like, whatever it takes. DDee, and he's hilarious is the other thing I'd say about that kid. He's very fun. He's trolling in top 8. Like, what the heck? He's just happy to be there.
Having a good time.
I'm a fan. For sure.
I mean, timing out Sonics with Pac-Man, that's insane.
Tertiary Pac-Man, yeah.
Like, and this is a player that is known for his Steve and his Pokemon trainer. Those are his 2 main characters. Bust out a pocket Pac-Man, at best his 3rd best character, and beat Sonics in the slow game, dude. Completely ruthless, whatever it takes to win, and like that. That's something that a lot of American players lack, in my opinion. A lot of American players play like more off-meta stuff, and you can win with like that. But he's just one of the first players in America as of recently to be completely ruthless and just does whatever it takes to win. And on top of that, DDee doesn't travel too much. Nope. The most of the time I've seen DDee play at this level has been MomoCon. So I was very surprised to see DDee in the bracket. Even when I saw him tweet about the pre-local, I was like, oh shit. DDee's at SmashCon. That's crazy. And if you guys don't know, DDee's like 15 or 16, so very young. Usually for the younger players, it's a little harder to travel to some of these events because ideally you want to come with the Guardian and all that other stuff. So yeah, I mean, shouts to DDee coming out and getting top 8 at this super stacked event. And I also want to really explain how stacked Super SmashCon is. So in the scope of American play, the East Coast is stronger than the West Coast in the current realm of Ultimate, like the current meta of Ultimate right now. So since the East Coast is stronger, there's two really big American tournaments. It's Genesis and SmashCon. And since the East Coast is stronger than the West Coast, and I would say by a pretty large margin at this current time, I can honestly
say it again,
say,
Chuck. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
What'd you say?
So the East Coast is much stronger than the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
And currently, right now. One more time?
That's good, thanks.
Yeah, okay. So I will say that SmashCon is the most stacked American event. Like, as of right now, just it's by far.
It's so hard,
Genesis
bro.
is also very stacked, don't get me wrong. But since a lot more secret bosses... There's so many PR threats on the East Coast that can come to SmashCon and just shit on so many players. Like Hungrybox didn't even get out of Poots, for example, because one of the PR players from one of the East Coast regions weren't seated. So there's a ton of talent, and it's very reminiscent of something like Kagaribi, where when you go there, a lot of the local PR talent is going to be very deadly, and the bracket is going to be dense in talent. So SmashCon, getting top 8 at SmashCon is so fucking hard. Like it's really hard. Like I said, hands down the hardest American tournament.
Dude, and even I did a little pool captaining, which was really fun because you guys know Andrew T. He's like a ZSS player. He's really good. He was playing his match to get out of pools, and he was playing against a player named Dat Derp Dog. Now that is a name you do okay.
The hero.
Yes, nice job, Marcus. I should have known you would know. But I was watching them play their pools, and Lucky was there, the piranha plant from Minneapolis. And I was like, "Who is that Derp Dog?" He goes, "This player would be the number 1 player in our region if he cared and showed up." I was like, "What?" He's like, "I'm not kidding." I'm like, "He's unranked." First thing happens, he's hero. He pulls up his spells, get him. Andrew T's approaching his ZSS. He jumps in, step back, forward smash. It crits, 90 damage. Oh, first thing. Okay. Well, awesome. Fucking awesome. Like, so cool. It was wild. So, and he actually made it out winners. Yeah. And he got to play against Acola. So I was excited. I didn't get to watch that set because I was casting somewhere else. But I was excited because, like you said, Charles, you don't know who the hell is going to show up at these things, you know?
Wild. Oh my God. Steve's sleep animation is so fucking
It's so good.
funny.
It's so good.
Brings out the bed.
He put up the bed, dude. He's never losing, even when he's losing. He's still winning. I think that's just about. I mean, it's been a pretty long episode already. We could do around the horn final thoughts for the weekend if we want. Kind of close it out.
Normally we
didn't even.
All right, Gavin.
There's no prediction.
How was your run, Gavin? We didn't even get that today. We just.
It was all right. I got 9. There were some sets where I thought I played really well, and there were some sets where I thought I played really bad. Surprisingly, that was the ones where I lost. I did play DDee and Sephiroth equally. I was a little upset that I think people didn't really understand that. A lot of people were mostly...
I barely saw it.
Let them know, Gavin. Let them know.
Seph
was out.
The Sephiroth was playing really well. My Sephiroth is really good, guys. I promise. I'm not feeling as bad as I expected to. I'm right back to practicing. I really feel like I just need to put more hours in. I just really need to make sure I figure out my situation with tendonitis. I had physical therapy today. It went well. I just want to play. I'm going to just practice, try to put myself in uncomfortable situations so I can be ready for anything, and just not be afraid to really play and put myself out there. And I didn't really get to talk about my run, but that's okay. I feel like we talked about a lot of really cool things. But that about wraps it up. We're actually going to go into the Patreon bonus content. We do it every week. If y'all are interested in supporting us even further than you already do, thank you either way. And we have a break this weekend, but Shine is coming up the week after, so we'll probably
actually Delfino Mazza is gonna be this.
Oh yeah, Delfino Mazza. I have a break this weekend. Everyone else does.
Not me. I'm not going. What the heck? What the hell?
Players.
I wanted to say, shout out to Luminosity winning Unite Worlds 2 years in a row. W. It was an amazing tournament to watch. I watched as much of it as I could.
DLC September 13th.
Oh please! I was trying to talk about cool things.
I'm excited.
Scarlet
what the heck, guys?
Anyway, yeah, Luminosity. That's your team though. This is this is like adjacently related. So shout out to Luminosity. They're amazing to watch. They were really, really good.
I get a
2 years in a row.
vicarious like W. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Yeah, Pokemon Worlds is always a treat for all the games, but Unite specifically was really dope to
So
watch.
good.
And also,
So
shout outs to
fun.
Luminosity for sponsoring the rankings. Alt Rank has been doing a great job, and if you are not pleased with the results of the rankings, just keep in mind it is an algorithm, and also keep in mind that America had its time. America, especially during Smash 4, there was so much like tournaments happening in America. If you didn't go to America, you did not get ranked. And just because Japan has the spotlight now, don't shit on them. That region worked extremely hard to get that spotlight. They grind really hard. They hosted many tournaments, and now their players are really high ranked. So a little bit of the concentration is in Japan, but that is completely okay because that's just how global rankings work. There's always going to be one region that might have more resources in terms of players and tournaments than others. And Japan only just got the spotlight on them just now. So if you're bitching about it, you probably don't know enough history about just Smash rankings in general, and that's just how shit rolls. And I mean, it is what it is, right? So yeah, I mean, shout out to Luminosity for the rankings. And again, just having something to work with is so important for the players and sponsors and all that stuff. So it's really important for our community moving forward.
yeah,
That's right.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Also, I don't think corn is broken. All right.
Oh,
See
dang.
Oh, see you.